Hello, soul revivalists. Welcome to the Soul Revival Bootcamp. I am so honored that you are here and so excited to spend some time with you over the next month. Our first call is coming up soon, so I just wanted to jump in here and lay out a few of the details. Just watch this, keep them in mind as we get going, because I really want to focus in on our discussions during the calls rather than leave it to logistical stuff. So why did I call it a boot camp? Some of you might be wondering. When you think of a boot camp, you think of an army boot camp, you think of the sweat and the tears and the anguish. So this isn't your typical boot camp in that respect, but it is slightly because we're looking at an internal transformation rather than an external one. So this is a place where you'll get great community, you'll get support, you'll get connection, potentially collaboration. There'll be some exercises, and there'll be some vulnerability and sharing of what's important to you and how we can move through some of the things to revive our soul. So one of the first things that you need to do in order to make this work for you is to block it out in your calendar. So for the next 5 weeks, block out the time, 90 minutes in your calendar, and tell your family that it's non-negotiable me time. I love that term, non-negotiable me time. And remove all the distractions, remove your phone, shut down some of your tabs, turn your notifications off when you're on your computer, unplug your phone, your landline if you still have one, and give yourself a great space, a quiet space that you really like. So I like to light a candle when I'm on calls. Sometimes I like to put essential oil on. I have a journal and a pen, and I also do write notes on my computer. So you can put the Zoom call, you can shrink it down, minimize it to half of the screen size, and keep a notepad or a Word document open and write notes as you go along. Keep in mind the mute button when it's on and off. The person who's hosting the Zoom call has control over that, but sometimes it gets awkward and they lose control. So when you aren't talking, make sure that you're on mute. And when you want to talk, just take yourself off mute or just put your hand up, because that's what we can see as we're going through that. So yeah, the idea for our Zoom calls is to really focus on each other, focus on the conversation and what we want to say, and what we, and basically it's just listening, good listening skills, which brings me to the fact that we're really going to focus in on active listening. And I'm going to talk more about that in the first call. But be there, be succinct. We've got a short time. We want to make the most of it. And I know a lot of us love to share stories and to talk, but when we're seeking support or when we're giving feedback, try to make it succinct so that we all have a chance to talk, because I think that's key. And of course, there's lots of flexibility. I'm not going to be there with a timer and go, oh, time's up. Whenever you're talking, because that doesn't do anything for soul flow whatsoever. So flexibility and common sense. However, if there is a time when I need to pull you back, either off track or coming out of time, I've got a little ding. It's a bowl that I can just dingle, which will just bring you back to the moment. So the group, what's this Facebook group for? We're going to have our calls every week, and this Facebook group is also going to be here. So we're going to be integrating those two platforms. The replays are going to be available in the group, and I'm going to be posting on the other days of the week, not all days. So the call will be on Tuesday night. There'll be a post on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There's not a lot of work. I'll give you some PDFs that you can have a look at, some writing exercises, because writing really does help bring things out. Talking does, crying does as well. That's the three things that I say when we really want to do that soul excavation. We can let it out through our eyes, we can let it out through our mouth, or we can let it out through our hands, but we have to get it out. The stuff that we've stuffed down for too long, and that's doing some of that soul excavation. So yeah, the Facebook group, when there is a post, please respond to that post in that thread, the thread being where it was posted at, so they stay together and it makes sense. It also keeps the Facebook group a little bit clean, and you can follow up things because not everybody's going to get there on the same time. So it's just a nice way to keep a track of the conversations. Engagement is the next one. So we really want to engage. This is how we learn. We can sit back and we can watch and we can learn, but I think the big lessons come in our lives when we actually start to, peel those layers off of ourselves and start to expose some vulnerability. This isn't about getting up there and being absolutely vulnerable, especially if you're not used to it. This is about sharing some things and connecting with others and getting some feedback and some coaching into different ways that you can move into sort of reviving your soul. So with engagement becomes, there's got to be honesty, there's got to be openness, and as I mentioned, there's got to be vulnerability and respect. It's an opportunity in a group like this to really dive into that. I mean, I've been into some groups, into some small groups especially, which is so empowering, where all of a sudden you're saying things that you haven't said to like your partner or close friends. It just, there's a sense of willingness that comes when you know that people have your back, and that's what we all do here. We all have our back. To get the notifications, so when somebody posts something, when I post something, any of the challenges, any of the resources, make sure that your notification is on so you'll get that. And the way to make sure that you do that is there's 3 little dots up on the top of your screen right now in this Facebook group. So go in there, click on it, look under Manage Notifications, and click on All Posts. Now, you're not going to be inundated with a whole bunch of posts because there's only going to be a handful of us in this group. But we want to make sure that you get the notifications and see them when they come up. I'm also going to be tagging you as we go through this if there's something that I'd like you to see before our next call. Listening skills, I talked about that. Zoom calls. So yeah, we're going to be Zooming. I'm on Zoom right now, and I will post the link in 2 places prior to the call. One is in the Messenger thread that we've been talking that I'm talking in, which I'm going to set up for all of us to be in there. And that is for announcements. So it's not really a place where we can go in and have conversations. That's where the group comes in. And that's where the other place where I'll be posting the Zoom link is in the group the day of. When you're on Zoom, make sure that you have some good light so that we can see your face, and make sure that your sound is working so that we can hear you, obviously. And what else there? Be visible. Yeah, so when we are on Zoom, we want to keep our camera on as much as we can. And it doesn't matter. We can be sitting back, we can be writing, we can be having a snack or a beverage or whatever it is. That's okay, just like a big living room. When we turn our camera off, it says to the person who's talking that not really sure whether they're paying attention or listening. And if you've ever spoken in front of a group, when somebody gets distracted by picking up their phone, for example, they're not tuning in. So we really want to encourage engagement with each other and show up for each other. So that's important to keep visible. What else? During our first call, we're going to start with the introduction. So there is a post that I put in the group introducing yourself. So why don't you do that? You can put a picture of yourself in if you want to write a little bit. I've given you 3 little questions there. During our first call, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into who we are so that we can appreciate all of our backgrounds, because I've spoken to each and every one of you and invited you into this group because I know that we have something in common. So in all of your correspondence and engagements, just be open and be honest. Fear steps in sometimes, especially when we haven't spoken about things a lot. And believe me, I'm there. I still am there. I'm still speaking about things, and I'm 55, still thinking about, still speaking about things. Sorry, tongue twisted. That happened in my past. And every time I do bring something up, it lessens that load. So this isn't a full meal deal soul excavation, but it's a revival. We're going to be reviving parts of us that might have been dampened, might have been stuffed down in a while, so that we can grow, so that we can bloom, so that we can find that energy and find that direction to move forward on the path that we choose to move forward on. So as a recovering / recovered people pleaser, it's pretty damn exciting when we can start to make decisions by ourselves, for ourselves, when we can stand up, when we can show up, when we can speak up, when we can speak with confidence. And it doesn't matter if it's to one person in your family on the phone or to a group of people, and really know that we have learned a lesson from some of these experiences in our life, which is what we'll be talking about. So that's about it. If you've got any questions, you know where you can find me. You can post a question in the group. That's the easiest way to keep track of things, because with the messenger, it gets lost in time. And sometimes you can't even get to those messages on your desktop and you have to use your phone. So the messenger slots are for announcements, and the Facebook group is for connection, communicating, collaboration, and all that good thing. Posting if you find something that's on theme with what we're talking about. Resources. I'm big on tools, and I'll be sharing some tools and resources with you in that Facebook group too. And in that, there's a section that's called, you can just if you haven't played with it before, there'll be a unit section. There is a files section, which is where I'll be keeping the files. There's pictures and videos, so you can find them easier. Play around with it. And if you've got any questions, let me know. Don't want to take any more of your time up. Excited to be working with you all, and have a fantastic day. And throw in your introduction. I'll throw in mine as well. And have a good day.